In this lesson, we are going to learn about the distributive property. Now, the distributive property is a little bit difficult to explain without using an example. But when we use the distributive property, the question will always look the same. It will look like this: a number on the outside. So I'm going to make another example, 7. Then parentheses, and then at least 2 terms on the inside. So let's make this x, and we'll make this plus 2, okay? The distributive property is a way to make another expression that is equal to the one we see. So the way we do this is we are going to multiply, because this 7 is leaning up against the parenthesis, meaning it is implying multiplication. So we are going to do the 7 times each thing on the inside of the parentheses. So 7 times x, which is just 7x, and 7 times 2, which is positive 14. Now these expressions are equal. I could say 7x plus 2 equals 7x plus 14. These are equivalent expressions. They are equal in meaning, okay? Now, it's difficult for us to understand right now why we would do this, because there's no meaning behind it. But these are just properties that allow us to do certain things in math, okay? So let's practice some of these. We have 3 times x, which is 3x. And then we have 3 times 5, which is 15. And that plus sign is in the middle. Okay, we can also say 3 times a positive 15, 3 times a positive 5, which is a positive 15. Okay, let's move on to example 4, because example 4 looks a little bit different. This time we have 3 terms on the inside, but our rule doesn't change. We are still doing 8 times each thing. We're just going to multiply 3 different times instead. Okay, now also on this one, we have some minus signs as well. Okay, so we have 8 times 2x, and what we're going to do is we're just multiplying the numbers and then writing x, because this is like 8 times 2 times x. So 8 times 2, I'm going to kind of show you as I go. 8 times 2x, 8 times 2 is 16, and then x. Then we're going to do 8 times 3 with a minus sign in front. So let's put our minus sign down. 8 times 3 is 24. And then 8 times negative y, or 8. So we're going to do a minus 8y. So the 8 is going to go right in front of the y, because this y has an imaginary 1. So it's like 8 times 1, which is 8, and then the y. So we have that minus sign in front, 8 times 1, which is 8, and then the y. Okay, so this is our final answer. Remember, in algebraic expressions, when we're simplifying, we don't always come down to one number. It's possible, but usually we'll be left with an expression. In the first case, we were left with 2 different terms. And in this second case, we were left with 3 different terms. Okay? Now let's just look at example 6, because example 6 has the 10 on the other side of the parentheses. It means the same thing, and if it helps your brain, you can actually just put it in front, because this kind of makes a little bit more sense to us. It looks a little bit cleaner, it's a little bit easier to see. Okay, so for this one, we're going to do 10 times 4d, and we multiply our coefficients, so 4 and 10, which is 40d. Then we have our minus sign, and then 10 times 15 is 150. Okay, you could have also done it from here. 10 times 4d is still 40d, and 10 minus 10 times 15 is 150. You still get the same answer if you do it, the backwards with the arrows, but our brain kind of likes this one better.